and this is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for tuning in. Wow, what a great day. President Trump has ended another war. I've lost track of how many wars the president has ended. If somebody could add them up, he's basically ended every war in the world except one, the Russia-Ukraine war, Ukraine-Russian war, whatever you want to call it. But he just ended another war. And not only did he end another war, he ended another war that is a very difficult one to end. I mean, this one, and how many people has he saved? How many lives has he saved in Gaza and Israel? And, President Trump, this is what he does best, right? Build. So Gaza is like Hiroshima right now, right? It's all just rubble, and he's going to rebuild the whole thing. This is such a beautiful thing, everyone. Welcome. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. I mean, it's a great celebration. The killing is stopping. A war is over. I mean, even the most venomous never-Trumper, Trump derangement syndrome sufferer has got to admit this one's a good one, right? Who could be against the ending of a war? Well, a Trump derangement suffering liberal, that's who. It was amazing. And it was so cool when Marco Rubio came in and gave him that note. And we got to see the president in action, right? I mean, that during that Antifa roundtable, which was fantastic. I watched the whole thing. It was absolutely amazing. I'm heading to the radio station today. On a wet, rainy road. So I'm leaving a little early because the weather's not so great. It's hurricane season, rainy season here in Florida. Yeah, I mean, the Trump haters, they've always got a reason to hate on Trump. But can you honestly come out and be opposed to a war ending? How could you be opposed to that? I love that roundtable with the journalist on Antifa. Really embarrassing the fake news, so-called mainstream legacy media. They're not the mainstream media anymore. The legacy media they're all fake news, and they told them off yesterday. They should be ashamed of themselves. How embarrassing for these overpriced, overpaid legacy media people. They got a bunch of people, mostly just with an iPhone, out there doing real journalism. It's amazing. It really, truly is. Oh, yeah. I mean, could you imagine what would the world be like if Trump had not been reelected? Just this one issue, which is a big one. The Israeli-Gaza war would continue. The death would continue. The destruction would continue. And it's all over now because of Trump. You imagine what it's going to be like in Gaza. We may be taking a vacation. One of our MAGA cruises may go over there in the future. I mean, if they're going to rebuild Gaza, it's going to become a resort. It's going to become a vacation destination. Who would have ever thought? They'll be fighting for Israel for tourists instead of fighting to, killing each other. They'll be fighting to get the tourists to come to their place. Might even bring them together. You might be able to go to a travel agent and get a package deal to visit Israel and the new Gaza, right? Why would you say that, Richard? Why would you talk that way? I don't understand. Where's the anger coming from? Where is the anger coming from there? That's a little harsh. I don't understand. The President of the United States, our MAGA leader here, he just ended just a god-awful, bloody, deadly war. Who could be against ending a war? And both sides, especially the Gazians, whatever they call themselves, the people of Gaza came out on the winning end. They're set up for life. The people of Gaza are going to have the best life you could imagine moving forward. There are a lot of cars out on the road. Holy smokes, what is going on here? If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Did you guys catch the Antifa roundtable yesterday? Wasn't that amazing? That was absolutely amazing. You know, these citizens, and I like how they were naming names of Antifa financiers and organizers and giving out locations of their safe houses. And President Trump would say, well, hey, listen, give Pam that name. Give Pam that information, right? The Attorney General of the United States is sitting right here. Give her all that intel. And then, of course, the FBI, Homeland Security Secretary, and the Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General, after the roundtable, met with all those journalists, and they'll continue to meet with them to get all of the information they have on Antifa. You know, I thought it was interesting. One of them said that these NGOs are funding Antifa, a lot of them. See, they got a lot of information. You know, the Antifa is much larger and involved than people realize. I mean, I understand what they're doing, but I don't necessarily understand why. Like what I couldn't figure out about Antifa, maybe you guys in the chat have an answer. You guys are smart. You know, we know, Antifa is involved all over the place. You know, a lot of the callers that I get, mostly the men, sometimes the women, but a lot of the younger callers I get that are out of control and angry, those are Antifa, you know. But in Portland, for example, which is a very liberal town, why do they spend so much time causing mayhem in their liberal-friendly towns? I mean, I know, obviously, right now, they're on the attack against ICE because there's a big uptick in, deportations and things. So, I understand that. But in general, because some of these journalists in the round table, and I hope you guys, some of you can call me on the air about this today. I'd like to hear your thoughts about this on the air. Some of them said they had been infiltrating Antifa undercover for 10 years. For 10 years. So, why are they burning down their own cities like Portland all the time? Now we know what's going on with the deportations, but I'm talking about prior to that, this guy is swerving all over the freaking road. His windows are too dark. I can't see who's driving. That guy's got to be either texting or tanked. I got all the way over here. I'm like 3 lanes away from defensive driving, man. Defensive driving. Don't want anywhere near that guy. Now, I mean, is it where they recruit? They recruit and train in Portland and then send them around the country to places like Charlottesville and such? I'm not sure. But what benefit is it for them to be causing so much trouble in their own city? But you know, a lot of times, like, oh shoot, what was the city that Kyle Rittenhouse defended himself in? What was that town? I forgot what city. But what Kyle Rittenhouse was going up against was, oh shoot, it's been so long now. What's the name of the city that Kyle Rittenhouse defended his life in? Does anyone remember? Can you let me know? Absolutely, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. While I'm driving, I can't look at the chat. But what Kyle Rittenhouse was up against was Antifa. So they do deploy Antifa around the country to cause mayhem, cause trouble, create issues. A lot of times they're undercover MAGA. I thought from the moment I was watching it on TV, the guy that broke the window at the Capitol building on January 6th, I believe, was Antifa. There are a lot of Antifa there, disguised as MAGA. You know, that was an Antifa tactic, what he did. You know, we know there was Black Lives Matter in MAGA gear. We know there were feds in MAGA gear. I'm sure there were Antifa there. That guy, as soon as I saw that, when I was watching it on TV when it happened on January 6th, and I saw that guy break the window, I said immediately, that guy's Antifa. That's an Antifa tactic. The guy that broke the window and broke into the front door of the Capitol. So so my guess is that they use Portland as kind of like their big recruitment training center. It's the Quantico of Antifa. Would be my best guess. And they deploy them around to cause trouble at events. But you know, all of these movements of the left, they're all under the it's all the same people that are organizing them. All the same people. You know, nothing on the left is organic. You know, like the MAGA movement that President Trump started in the first campaign is 100% organic. Real people driving themselves to rallies and all of that, right? That's how we got where we are. That's it. That's how we got where we are. So, but on the left, none of it's real. None of it's organic. You know, yesterday on the morning live stream, there was a Democrat congresswoman, city member of Congress, who's had an event, had a campaign event, and only one person showed up. That's because USAID has taken a major blow into the Democrats' operation. They can't turn out fake crowds for their people anymore. So what's going on is I think, because of USAID, they don't have the operation they had. Like, I give you an example. And you guys can go back and look this up, okay? Remember Charlottesville? That was a totally manufactured event. I haven't had coffee this morning yet, so I'm not on full brain power. That's why my recollection of names and places isn't too well. But who was the guy that was the organizer in Charlottesville? What was his name? I can't remember his name offhand. You haven't heard from him in a long time. He was an Occupy Wall Street guy. And then all of a sudden, he's organizing white supremacists. Total bullshit. Complete bullshit. And there were people at the time after Charlottesville happened, the guy's a fake white supremacist. He's a fake white supremacist. And now, when the fake white supremacists put on a rally, some of the real ones are going to show up. But there were witnesses in Charlottesville who said that the Black Lives Matter and the white supremacists came on buses, chartered buses to the event, and they were from the same charter bus company. I remember that at the time. And I was talking on the show right here about it at the time, and I said, you know, I'd like to go up to some of those white supremacists in Charlottesville with some spray cleaner and a washcloth and see if those tattoos are real. A bunch of white supremacist henna tattoos, you know what I mean? Like they do in the movies. Now, there were real white supremacists there. Like I said, you know, you put on a fake white supremacist event, the real ones hear about it, they'll show up. But that was a manufactured event, manufactured by the Democrat Party. And around that time, there were several of these events similar to that. And it's Antifa now, because USAID is shut down and they've lost a lot of their funding and organization. Seems to me they're leaning on Antifa more. And it's growing because of that. And, you know, among the Gen Z, you hear the guys that call me. There's, and some of them are probably trolling in the chat now. There is just an evil anger among that generation that they recruit from. That's it. But President Trump seemed pretty serious yesterday about Antifa. The Democrats and the media still claim it doesn't exist. Remember Biden? Oh, Antifa's not real. It's just an idea. It's just a thought. Really? A thought that throws bricks around? Burns things down? Come on. If you're new to my channel, my name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. I'm heading, well, I got to get coffee, and then I'm heading to the radio station. And I'll be live in about an hour taking your calls. Boy, oh boy. I cannot believe how much traffic there is at this hour. But that's what's going on. I was fascinated at the stories of those citizen journalists at the White House yesterday. That meeting room where they had that meeting, that's the dining room at the White House. I've been in there, been in that room. It's amazing how small it is. It looks small, didn't it? That's the dining room. That's the official dining room at the White House. I recognized it because of the carpet and the portrait of Lincoln over the fireplace. It's, you know that hallway with the red carpet that the president walks down to have the press conferences there? Whenever you see the president walk down that red carpet for the press conferences, that room where the dining room is behind him, at his back, all the way at the end of the red carpet. One end's the dining room, the other end's the east room. So I guess it's kind of the west room. and then to the president's right, when he's walking down that red carpet, that's where those rooms on his right, which are like the yellow room and the blue room and all that stuff, that's where those rooms are. The White House is so tiny. It's like if you've ever been there, it's like a miniature. It's almost like a dollhouse because it was built so long ago. That's why the president's building that massive ballroom, because the rooms are so small there. Well, it's an 1800 mansion. What do you expect, you know? They didn't have the size back then we got now. Well, I guess they did in Europe. I don't know why they built it so small, but it's small. Coming up to Donald John Trump Boulevard, just a couple miles away. They still haven't changed the signs, though. Still has the old name on the signs. But ending this war with Gaza and Israel is absolutely fantastic. It's just absolutely fantastic. I mean, there are people... Today, there are people alive who would not have been if President Trump didn't do this, didn't end this war. Think about that. You know, President Trump, you know, he understands things in a way that other presidents don't understand. And this is why he got along so well with Kim Jong-un. What do all of these people care about? Right? What do all these leaders care about? They care about money and power too, but the power is just a means to have the wealth, the money. And when people start living well and have a good life, then you start to see the violence end. And they're going to turn, you know, President Trump, he's talked about this. We call it, what was the name we came up with it? Gaza-Lago or something like that we were calling it. He's going to rebuild Gaza to be an international tourist destination like Monaco or something. It's going to be like the south of France. They'll probably have casinos and everything else going on there. And the people that live there are they're going to be rich. And they've been living in not just poverty, they've been living like tribal Stone Age people a lot of times. I mean, they don't have, you know, prior to the war, they just didn't have good modern facilities. Almost 100 years behind the times. And he's going to turn Gaza into a luxurious gambling destination, tourist destination, beautiful hotels and everything else. And the people there are going to be freaking loaded. And once they're doing well financially and have a good life and are living in the modern world with an upscale living, they're not going to want to kill Jews anymore. They're going to enjoy their life. You know, Iran and Hamas have them living in poverty and these terrible conditions to keep them pissed off. And angry. And blaming Israel for their problems. And Trump's ending all of that. And Israel and Gaza may very well become allies. I mean, look at us with England. England screws us over all the freaking time, but we're still allies and friends, and they burned down the damn White House. We fought 2 wars against them, the American Revolution and the War of 1812. And now that we're best buds, even though they screw us over like Canada. This, when Gaza is rebuilt and the people are living a good lifestyle, like a first world lifestyle, they're not going to be angry at Israel anymore. One of the reasons that we have ended most of the racial problem, I know the Democrats left are always trying to pit whites and blacks against one another. But one of the reasons we've ended all of that anger from blacks towards whites to the degree we have and have so many black MAGA people is because in the last 15 years or so, we have full economic equality. Here in Florida, this is a tourist state, right? Tourist destination, Florida. And you see black tourists and upscale place. Like you go to Disney World. There's a story today. Disney World's raising their single-day ticket prices to $200 a ticket. You go to Walt Disney World. There's a lot of black families there. And I've been going to Walt Disney World since 1976. It's always been an expensive destination. Always. It's never been cheap to go to Disney World. And you really didn't have that many black people going to Disney World in the 70s, in the 80s, the 90s, until about the last 15 years or so. And I'm not saying there weren't black people there, but there weren't that many. And now there are because we have economic equality now in this country, right? They can afford to go, And when you have a group that's living in poverty, that impoverished group is pissed off, and the Democrats get them to blame white people and Republicans for their poverty. Well, similar thing is true with the Palestinians. I know the problem's a little more complex. I'm simplifying things for a quick discussion in my car. But the Palestinians, they live in poverty. They live not by modern 21st century standards whatsoever. And before this war began. And when they're living a modern life like you and I are, maybe even better because they're going to be rich, like the Seminole Indians here in Florida, that anger is going to go away for a lot of them. Does that make sense to you guys? It's a long-term thing. And that's what Trump understands. Like when he was dealing with Kim Jong-un in his first term, he would say, look at South Korea. That could be you. You just got to cut this shit out. And you can be rich up here. World affairs, it's a lot like personal affairs, okay? It's all people. I talk a lot about how I watch true crime. What are the 2 number 1 causes of murder in America? Almost every murder is because of one of 2 things. It can be both, but one of 2 things are the number 1 motivation for murder in America. You know what that is? Money and sex. Money and sex. Most murders, almost all of them, involve that. Money and sex. And when people are poor or want money, you know, they're easily manipulated to do all kinds of things. And when the Palestinians are living the good life in Gaza, with all the tourist dollars and everything else in a modern country, that anger will start to fade away. Now, it's a long-term thing. It's not going to happen overnight. No, there's always going to be people that have their problems. But you get them living a good life, a modern life, they'll stop wanting to kill Jews. And believe me, Israel doesn't want to live in a constant state of war. If you're new to my program here, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe. I'm heading to the radio station. I'm almost to my exit off of I-95. The next stream, I'll be in the studio taking live calls on the air, so you'll be able to call me, those of you that are new, and you can call me whether you agree or disagree with me. I've got a lot to cover on the program today. I have to go to the radio station every couple of weeks. Stuck at a red light here at the exit. A long red light. There's no cars, but I'm at a red light. Well, there's a car waiting for the light to turn green next to me, but that's what it is. I mean, you know, most of the problems around the world are money. You know, there's some differences. You know, I mean, the Russia-Ukraine war, while there's financial interest involved in it, that's a civil war, and that's a little different. See, look what I got to deal with. You know, I was telling you guys at the beginning of the stream, I haven't talked about this. Today it's the first day I think I've actually said it, but I felt I should because of the meeting the president had at the White House yesterday. A lot of these trolls that call me on the air or you see in the chat, like that guy, they're Antifa. Antifa is larger than you think. And there's just this anger and violence with them that is just amazing. All right, I'm at Starbucks, so I'm going to sign off. But I'll take a quick look at the chat. Money, power, legacy. Yep. Nothing about Gaza is modern. It will be after Trump rebuilds it. All right, guys, listen, make sure you subscribe. My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. All right, I'll see you on the next stream in about half an hour. Take care.